So when you picture a software developer, what do you see? I bet it's someone kind of hunched over a keyboard, fingers just flying, with all this green code scrolling up a dark screen. It's a really powerful image, right? But it's almost completely wrong. Today, we're going way beyond the keyboard to tear down that myth and show you the surprising reality of how great software is actually built.
This quote right here, it really just says it all. This isn't just some clever little saying. It's the fundamental principle that separates truly exceptional engineering from, well, just mediocre output. The code you see on the screen, that's just the final artifact of a much, much deeper intellectual process. So on one side, you've got the myth, this hyper-caffeinated coder whose productivity is measured by how fast their keys are clattering. And on the other side, you have the reality, the developer as a creative problem solver, where the real value, the most important work, happens in those quiet moments of thinking and debating and designing. This whole typist myth is actually pretty destructive. It sets completely flawed expectations and totally misunderstands where the magic happens. It's in the silence between the keystrokes, not during them.
Okay, so if development isn't about typing all day long, what is it about? Well, let's look at the hard evidence, because the data we have paints a picture that might genuinely shock you.
I want you to just take a guess. Seriously, out of a standard 8-hour workday, how many of those hours do you think are spent in that deep flow state, actively writing brand new code? 4 hours? Maybe 3? 2?
The answer, and this is based on data from over 250,000 developers, is a median of just 52 minutes. That's it, not even a full hour. And this isn't some weird anomaly. It's a super consistent finding across the whole industry. So it brings up a huge question. Where in the world does the rest of the day go?
This breakdown of a developer's time is absolutely fascinating. You see that little slice for active creation, actually writing new code? It's the smallest part of the job, only about 15 to 25%. The vast majority of their day is spent on the cognitive load of debugging and planning, collaboration in meetings and code reviews, and battling something called system friction. They are professional thinkers, not typists.
And that system friction thing, it almost always comes down to organizational problems, not a lack of typing speed. The biggest hurdle leaders point to is technical debt. That's basically the tax you pay for taking shortcuts in the past. And right behind that, poor documentation and just waiting around for approvals. These are systemic issues that no amount of fast typing is ever going to solve.
And this all leads us to a really profound conclusion. The best leaders, the most effective ones, they don't crack a whip over the keyboard. They get that their real job is to become a friction remover, to clear the path by fixing the environment so their team can do the deep, focused thinking that's required to solve really complex problems.
So, if the whole code monkey stereotype is dead and buried, what should we replace it with? We need a new metaphor, a better one, that actually captures what the role is all about.
Let's start thinking of a great developer as a hybrid, part architect and part artisan. The architect is the systems thinker, the one who designs the logical blueprint before a single brick is laid. Then, the artisan is the master craftsperson who takes that blueprint and brings it to life with clean, efficient, and beautiful code. They're inventors, you see, not assembly line workers.
This new metaphor completely changes how you should hire people. Instead of looking for someone who has memorized a specific algorithm, you should be looking for an architect and an artisan. Someone who asks amazing clarifying questions, who has really strong foundational skills in critical thinking, and who shows a steep learning trajectory. That ability to solve tomorrow's problems, not just today's.
And once you have these incredible thinkers on your team, you can't just treat them like a feature factory, handing them a rigid to-do list. You've got to transform your team into an innovation engine by giving them business problems to solve. That's what creates the autonomy and creativity needed to build truly game-changing solutions.
You know, adopting this new mindset isn't just some philosophical, feel-good exercise. It has a direct, dramatic, and really positive impact on project success, on your budgets, and on your entire business.
This is exactly why Agile methodologies exist. They are the natural result of seeing development as a process of discovery, not just manufacturing. Agile is all about acknowledging uncertainty and then navigating it through short cycles, constant feedback, and having the courage to adapt as you learn. Changing requirements isn't a failure of planning, it's a success in learning.
This brings us to one of the most timeless laws in all of software, Brooks's Law. I mean, it seems completely counterintuitive, doesn't it? If you're behind schedule, you should just add more people. But in the world of software problem solving, that is often the absolute worst thing you can do.
And here's why. It's all about communication overhead. As you add people, the number of communication channels just explodes. A 5-person team, that's 10 channels to manage. But if you double the team to 10 people, the channels don't double, they more than quadruple to 45. The time spent just getting everyone up to speed and keeping them in sync quickly overwhelms any benefit you thought you'd get from the extra hands. So ultimately, the most profound change you can make is to shift this whole relationship. Stop treating your developers like order takers who just get the what. Empower them as strategic partners by giving them the why, the actual business problem you're trying to solve. Trust me, they might just find a better, faster, and cheaper solution than the one you prescribed.
Okay, so we've deconstructed the myth, we've built a new model. Now, let's make it actionable. Here's a clear blueprint for what everyone involved can do next. If you're a developer, your focus should be on deconstructing problems. Spend more time reading great code than writing your own. It's one of the absolute fastest ways to learn. And get really good at articulating your thought process. How you think is often way more important than what you happen to know at this exact moment. For all you engineering managers out there, overhaul your hiring process to test for problem solving, not just trivia. Measure what actually matters. Outcomes, like system uptime, not outputs, like lines of code. And above all, make it your #1 job to remove that systemic friction that's slowing your team down.
And for business leaders, your role here is hugely strategic. Bring your technical team into the conversation early. Present them with business challenges, not feature lists. Understand that a change in plans is actually a sign of learning, not failure. And please, for the love of all that is holy, burn the phrase, "just add more developers" from your vocabulary.
So we'll end with this question for you to take back to your own organization. Take a really hard look at how you work, how you communicate, and how you measure success. Are you simply churning out features from a list, or are you empowering a team of brilliant problem solvers to drive real, actual innovation? Because the answer to that question will define your future.